This first video was recorded in the middle of the night, inside an apartment complex located in Toledo, Ohio. The doorbell camera captures a man standing right outside the front door, knocking slowly, a firearm clearly visible tucked into his waistband. The woman inside the apartment didn't recognize him, so she asked, "Who are you?" The man calmly replied, "It's me." But when she pressed him again, he didn't explain. He just raised his hand and gave a quiet wave through the door.
Me.
That alone was enough for her to know something wasn't right. She refused to open the door, and after a few tense seconds, the man finally walked away. But then, out of nowhere, a second figure emerged from behind a nearby dumpster and silently followed him off camera.
Who is it?
But this wasn't the end, not even close. Both men would reappear at the back of the building where they tried to break in, picking at the lock, testing the door, trying to force their way inside. Police were called immediately, but by the time they arrived, the two had vanished, gone without a trace. What they truly wanted that night remains a mystery. The nearly empty backpack carried by the first man suggests they planned to rob the place, but many believe their intentions could have been much darker. To this day, neither of the two men have ever been identified. This next footage was captured in March of 2017 in Overland Park, Kansas. The doorbell camera records a terrifying sight just across the street. A house completely engulfed in flames, the night sky glowing orange, the crackle of fire echoing through the neighborhood. As firefighters rush to the scene, neighbors can be seen frantically moving their parked cars, trying to clear the way before the flames spread any further. Then suddenly, a burning piece of debris breaks loose, falling from the blazing home and landing directly onto a row of bushes right in front of the camera. Within seconds, the bushes erupt into flames, the fire growing fast, threatening to spread towards the house where the camera is mounted. But just before things get out of control, a brave neighbor notices what's happening. He grabs a garden hose and starts spraying the flames, all while pressing the doorbell, hoping someone inside might help.
Hello, yes, I'm not there. Please put that out for me, please. I'm on my way home.
Your house on fire.
Yeah, I know, I'm on my way.
Hard on the door. But that's somebody talking.
Nobody's in the house right now. Nobody's in the house right now.
The homeowner, however, wasn't home at the time. You can hear her voice through the doorbell speaker, panicked, trying to explain the situation from afar. In the end, the fire department managed to extinguish the flames, and thanks to the quick reaction of the neighbors, the blaze was stopped before it could spread, saving the nearby homes from what could have been a much greater disaster. On a quiet night in September of 2021, a homeowner was startled awake by a sudden knock on his door. It was around 3 in the morning. Half asleep, he reached for his phone and opened his doorbell camera feed. What he saw made his blood run cold. Two young men stood outside, claiming to be from the Columbus Police Department.
CPD, open up. We need to ask you a couple questions.
But something didn't feel right. The one in front was holding a gun, and when the homeowner used the doorbell speaker to question him, the man refused to show any badge, because, obviously, he didn't have one.
Can I help you?
CPD, we need to ask you a couple questions.
I'm sorry?
CPD, we need to ask you a couple questions. May you please step to the front door, please?
CPD.
Yes, this is CPD. We would like you to step to the door, please.
Can I see a badge?
We would like you to step to the door, please, sir. I don't have to show you my badge, sir.
Realizing what was happening, the homeowner stayed calm. He didn't approach the door. Instead, he quietly called the real police department and reported two armed suspects right outside his home. A few tense minutes passed. The men tried once more to get him to open the door, but when that failed, they turned and ran off, disappearing into the night.
CPD, open the door.
The police arrived shortly after, but the imposters were gone, and to this day, they've never been identified. Most believe they were planning to rob the man the moment he opened the door, but others suspect their intentions could have been far, far worse. This doorbell footage was recorded just before 4 a.m. on a quiet night in August of 2020. The video begins like any other, a still shot of a peaceful neighborhood, but then a figure appears, an unidentified man walking slowly across the yard, carrying a gas container in his hand. He doesn't hesitate, he doesn't look around, he just starts pouring, spreading gasoline across the grass, over the front steps, and onto the porch. Once he's done, he vanishes off camera, and seconds later, a massive fire ignites. Erupting in front of the lens, the flames roar, lighting up the street, consuming everything in sight. Miraculously, no one would be injured that night, but two homes and a vehicle would be badly damaged. The homeowner told police they had absolutely no idea who could have done this. No enemies, no disputes, nothing that made sense. From an outside perspective, it looks completely random, like an act with no meaning, no motive. And that's exactly what makes it so terrifying. In May of 2018, a woman made one small mistake. She left her car parked right outside her home, unlocked, overnight. And as you might expect, someone noticed. By morning, several of her belongings were gone, stolen right out of the vehicle. But that wasn't the worst part. A few hours later, the very same man responsible for the theft appeared again. This time, on her doorbell camera, trying to unlock her front door, using her own set of keys, the same keys he had stolen earlier that night. What makes it even more disturbing is that the homeowner was inside the house, sleeping, completely unaware that someone was just outside her door, trying to get in. Fortunately, the keys he had stolen didn't include a house key, so after a few failed attempts, he quietly walked away into the darkness. But had those keys been different, had they included a way inside, the outcome of that night could have been far, far worse. This next footage was captured in Colorado in the middle of the night. The video begins quietly, just another calm evening in a quiet neighborhood, until 3 figures emerge from the darkness, 3 mountain lions, slowly prowling between the houses, their eyes reflecting in the night, their movements silent, calculated. The footage shows them wandering through the neighborhood, even climbing up onto the porch of one of the homes, as if completely unafraid of being seen. What makes this so unsettling is that sightings like this are extremely rare in this area. Mountain lions usually stay deep in the mountains, where deer, their natural prey, are much easier to find. To see them this close to people, inside a neighborhood, is almost unheard of. Eventually, the 3 predators vanish back into the darkness, but the thought lingers. What if someone had stepped outside that night? What if a pet had been left on the porch, alone, unaware of what was watching from the shadows? The encounter could have ended very differently. A homeowner in Texas would wake up one morning to find something strange. The gate leading into his backyard was wide open. Confused, he checked the security cameras just to see what had happened overnight. And that's when he saw this. A man dressed head to toe in a clown costume, complete with a mask and a knife in his hand. He seemed casually walking around the property, peering through windows and quietly testing the doors, one by one. This happened back in 2016, during that bizarre killer clown craze that spread across the US. For a few unsettling months, most people back then were likely just trying to scare others, for attention or for fun. But there were some who took things much further, using the trend as a disguise to commit real crimes under the cover of a smiling mask. And this appears to be one of those cases. The man isn't there to prank anyone. He's actually trying to break into the house with a knife in his hand. After several tense minutes, he finally gives up and walks off into the night, vanishing as quickly as he appeared. Despite the homeowner filing a report, police were never able to find him, and no one ever came forward. In the end, the homeowner was left with nothing but this haunting footage, a reminder of how quickly something playful can turn into something truly terrifying. Shown in this doorbell camera footage is an unknown man wearing a deeply unsettling mask as he walks toward the front door. The motion sensor triggers the camera to start recording, and that's when you see him. Reach for the handle, try it once, realize it's locked, then pause, before slowly knocking on the door. He waits only a few seconds before pulling his sleeve over his hand and carefully wiping his fingerprints from the door handle. Then, without a word, he turns and walks away into the night. About a minute later, the homeowner comes to the door and spots the masked man sitting in a car across the street. She shouts out, asking what he wants, but the man immediately speeds off, disappearing from sight. Later, the homeowner would tell police she had no idea who he was or why he came to her house. But one detail stands out. The fact that he removed his fingerprints suggests that he's no stranger to law enforcement, someone who's done this before. And there's something else. If you look closely, you can see a heavy object bulging in his front pocket. No one knows what it was, and no one knows who this man is. The mask, the silence, the deliberate way he moved make it nearly impossible to determine his identity or what he truly intended to do that night.